Will, your face is so big tonight.
Kevin, so is yours. Wait,
This is-
do I need to lose weight?
we're a little too old to be the only two people on this. I like it when we have little squares. I'm going to back my computer away from you a little. Oh, that's nicer. I like myself a little bit better with the soft focus. No, so it's just Will and I tonight. We have had full shows for about a month and a half, 2 months, and had a blast. And then I think with San Diego Comic-Con, I think a lot of people are either visiting or like Will and I, angry that we're not there. Which I mean, jealous. I mean, really happy for the people who are there. That's what I mean.
Yes.
Really happy for the people who are there, and not at all jealous or angry or bitter
or any of those things.
No, none of those things. So Will and I are like, well, hey, we're not going to do the Kickstarter roundtable tonight because we don't have any new projects to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of put out a call for some questions and do kind of a mailbag type of a show tonight. But we do have a campaign that's live.
We do.
I think. Why don't you do your 30-second pitch, and I'll pull up the page and let's do a shallow dive, because people know about Crossover Division, but what if this is the first time they've seen us? What if this is the first time they've heard the podcast? They should hear about Crossover Division, because you have 1 week left?
1 week, 7 days. That's right.
Woohoo! All right, I'll pull up the page while you do the deep dive.
All right. When stories come to life and threaten to fracture reality beyond repair, only an English professor and a research librarian have the knowledge and the smarts to save us all from an unhappy ending.
Ooh. Gorgeous. So Crossover Division is your baby. Who are the two artists that you've had on the series so far?
We started out with Pablo Martinena, who's an Argentinian artist who's great. And he did the first 2 issues, but then we ran into some scheduling weirdness. So I apparently have something against American artists, because I went with a French artist this time. Alice Leclerc is a pretty amazing artist as well, and she's over in France. So what she's doing is she's done issue 3, which we funded several months back, I think in December, and we got it fulfilled last month or 2 ago, and then we jumped into Crossover Division number 4, where Alice is doing the art for us.
Well, I'm going to stop you there for a second. You had an interesting decision to make because of the paper shortage. The books took a little longer than you expected. So you had a choice to launch this campaign before you fulfilled issue 3, or to delay this campaign until you fulfilled. You chose to delay this campaign until you had fulfilled issue 3. I know you're 75% through this campaign. Do you think you made the right choice, the wrong choice? What do you feel about that choice?
I think so. I mean, I think and this is not to knock creators that have multiple outstanding campaigns, because a lot of the creators that I know can do that and do it well. It's really just me on the fulfillment side, and I didn't want to take the chance that I would have to be trying to fulfill 3 and also do stuff with 4, and have something fall through the cracks. So ultimately, it was just me wanting to make sure that I got all of that done. And there's 2 people that still haven't filled out their surveys from number 3. Fill them out so I can get you your books, please. Anyway,
come on, Ryan Kroboth. I know you're one of the 2.
Actually, it wasn't Ryan. But speaking of Ryan, Ryan is the colorist for us on. He's taken over as colorist for Crossover Division number 3 and number 4. Pablo colored his own work, but Ryan's been coloring this issue and the previous issue, and he's done an amazing job.
Ryan is fabulous. He's a great guy, really talented artist, illustrator, and colorist. But for a while there, just an inside joke, anybody listening, I think he says it was an email issue with BackerKit, but I do think he just never checks his email, because I would literally have to, email him or Facebook message him to get his address to send him books, like 4 campaigns in a row. But you know what? This is what we do. We're one-stop shop in here. So if we got to contact you, we will. Yeah, I see his colors right there. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And he went, I told him, I actually had a note because so Hector is drawing on the whiteboard here, and he's really, trying to, he's making this great work of art that explains the last issue. So it's a recap, and it's a gag. And I just had so much fun writing it. And then I think Alice had a tremendous amount of fun drawing it. And Ryan had I told him to use all the colors, every one of the markers. And he said, okay, I'm on it. So, and you can see where Alice had Hector give himself muscles in his arm.
That's beautiful. That is a great gag.
And I did not write the muscles, so that's all on Alice, and I think it's brilliant. So thanks, Alice.
well, I was going to make the joke that I'm always for hiring French artists no matter what, but it's so great to have an artist take your script, find the point you're trying to make, and then go, okay, and I can also add this, this, and this because I know the world and I'm passionate about the story. So it's really cool that she found that joke with you, or for you, I should say.
Yeah, it was all her, and she is really, involved and passionate about it. And this is not any slight against Pablo, but Alice is also fluent in English, so we can chat easier, and I think that's helped elevate, at least these issues a little bit, but working with Pablo is great too. But I find myself, since I'm writing for someone, who either doesn't speak English or English is their second language, I feel like I try to write more stripped down and not use as much in the way of, stupid American colloquialisms,
See, I think we should, write more, use more idioms, and help them learn English. You're doing them a disservice, Will.
Maybe, but us Americans have some pretty weird sayings.
yeah, Americans. I have learned with Ludo that some of the things that we think are, internationally understood are not. So that's okay. We had a back and forth about the hardcover this week where I had asked for something at the beginning and he had done something the opposite. And I had said, well, okay, that's fine. It's fine. And then we got to the end and he said, I really wish we could have done. And he said the thing that I'd asked for at the beginning. And I was like, well, you know what, Ludo, I think we confused ourselves somewhere on that line. And he just answered back, I'm always confused. So, hey, you know what? You get it right at the end and you laugh about the foibles. And that's
I saw your update. So yeah, we're getting close to the hardcover, which is pretty darn awesome.
Sent the check off. We sent the check off and we've got most, probably 95 to 99% of the book is ready to go to print, but they tell me you need 100%. So I'm waiting for just a couple pages, and but I wanted the money there when those pages were ready because I want to get in line and then find out if there's still a paper shortage in China. So
nice.
It's exciting. Yeah, it was one of the biggest checks I've ever written in my entire life. So it was kind of nice to see a comma in my business bank account for one of the few times in my life. It didn't last long, but it was really nice to see.
It's just after the Kickstarter ends, there's usually, it's a pretty healthy bump for just a short minute, and then, you start paying for everything, and there you go.
All right. So if you are watching or listening, I hit manage my pledge. That's not what I meant to do.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Do the people watching, do you want to see what happens when you cancel a pledge? Do you want to see the
effect on the creator?
Effect on the creator at the moment when a pledge is canceled? This is a Explain Yourself exclusive. you know what, cancellations happen. You gotta kind of roll with it, but each one can be rough because you always want to be moving forward quickly, and the cancellation may take you backwards, but they definitely slow the advance. So
Yep.
but
People back, and then people have to, cancel for a lot of valid reasons. So, it's not personal. And
no.
although, I do take it very personal and curl up in the fetal position and cry for several hours afterwards, but it's okay.
It hurt. Yeah, you kind of have to. You have to become one with your maker when somebody cancels their Kickstarter pledge, and that's it's a different journey for every creator. I tend to take it better sometimes than others. I this last campaign, it was the highest dollar amount. It's a hardcover, so it costs a lot, and I had early birds where if you got both hardcovers, the first day it was $70, and after the first day it was $80. So there were a couple days there where I'd get an early bird would cancel and somebody would come in and get the regular one. So I'd move up by $10. I'd get an $80 pledge and move up by $10.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to keep telling myself, hey, it's progress.
It is progress. Well, and we're at let me double check that. We are at 239 backers, which is
wow,
5 off of the most backers I've ever had, which was the last campaign of 244. So with still a week left, I'm really hoping we can push that number up, because more readers is always a great thing.
Always. I think fulfilling your Kickstarter right before you launched also added you literally, the book came and people were like, yes, I got it. And now I'm excited for the next campaign. I think there was something about literally handing somebody a book and then sending an email saying, guess what, you can get the next one within 2 or 3 weeks. I think that really helped you.
Oh yeah, I totally planned that. No, not at all. But I like that, and that's something I think I may use in the future.
Absolutely. So what we did is in my Discord, I kind of sent out hey, do you have any questions about crowdfunding, comics, kind of an ask us anything, but we don't have to answer everything. I'm a boxers guy, I'll say that, but I'm not getting any more intimate, people. Okay. Just telling you that right now. But so the first question we got from Laurent Valls Jr., who writes Sacrifice and has been on the show twice, and we are excited to have him back for issue 3 when it launches. General tips for creators who are starting their journey on things to keep in mind. I totally messed up and put my goal too low on my first campaign. So do you? Let's talk first about funding goals, and then maybe we can come up with a first timer thing.
Well, it's art and science. It's kind of there's some black magic to it. I mean, there are some great tools out there. I know Tyler James of Comics Launch has some really great tools that can kind of predict maybe what you could get, based on the pricing and your audience size and lots of different variables. It's a really good tool. But I've done campaigns where we fund the last day, and those are hard, man. Those are really, really hard. I mean, you're pushing, and then you get there, which is great. And maybe you make exactly what you need to cover all of your expenses, and maybe make a little profit. Who knows? But I think I subscribe to the Kevin Joseph school of setting your goal, which in my mind is, don't necessarily set your goal to cover all your expenses. Set it so that you can make what you want to make the book, even if you don't necessarily pay for all of the book,
Right.
And I found that that's made the Kickstarter campaigns for me less stressful
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not day in and day out. I mean, and with the day job, I usually try to take off like the first 3-4 days, maybe the first week of a Kickstarter campaign, so I can just be there doing that stuff. But I can't do that for a month. I don't have that much vacation.
We're gonna have to talk about that college. Come on, give him 18 weeks of vacation.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. I need 18 weeks of vacation every year.
I think I agree. On your first campaign, I would look at it, get your print, get all of your everything, what it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Find out how much it's going to cost you for each book you're going to print, how many books you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just have enough books to fulfill your Kickstarter, or do you want to have books for the next 5 years at conventions? And that's a personal choice. I do subscribe that you cannot have enough issue ones, and after that you should probably print pretty close. Issue 2 should be pretty close to what you need. I wouldn't subscribe to the Kevin Joseph method at the beginning of trying to do 2,000 of everything, but issue 1, I would try to get as many as you can. So let's say it costs you, it's going to cost you $1,200 to print, and let's guess $400 to ship. So you need $1,600, and your artist costs you $3,000. So that's $4,600. Are you trying to recoup your artist fees through the Kickstarter, which is perfectly valid? Or are you trying to get the book printed to recoup your fees either through stretch goals or through selling the book in the future? Personal choice, whatever you want to do is fine. I subscribe to, I've already paid my artist most times. So I want the book first, and any bits of the artist fees I can get later. So I would go with that $1,600 to start. Now, then I think to myself, if I got up to $1,300 and failed, would I be angry that I hadn't spent $300 of my own money to get the Kickstarter launched or funded? Well, you can't do that. You cannot legally back your own campaign. So I take that $1,600. Well, you got to do 10%, so another $160. So let's put it up to $1,760. And now I put in my Kevin's an idiot window of $300. So let's say $2,000. $2,000 is what I need to make the book. I know that if I was $300 under, I'd be mad at myself. I subtract that, my idiot fee, down to $1,700, and that's my goal. So that's how I do it. I kind of, what is this going to cost me so that I know that I can make this book, deliver it, ship it, etc. And that's, everybody has to make those choices for themselves. Now, on your first campaign, I would make sure I lined up 25 friends and family members that are definitely going to come out and give you $5 or $10 or more. Your first campaign, you got to beg your family and friends to create the crowd that begets a crowd. After that, you can no longer expect friends and family to help you. Issue 1, you get to say, hey, I need you to help me make this. And I would line them up long before Kickstarter, figure out how you explain to them that Kickstarter is not charity. They are not doing you the greatest favor in the history of the world. They are just making a product happen, and get them on board and make sure you have them, because
they're pre-ordering.
They're pre-ordering a book and pre-ordering and supporting your career. They're not giving you charity. And do not ask them to donate. Ask them to pledge, because So, all right. So that's what we think about first campaigns. My phone went black, which is not good. All right. So Lauren had a bunch of questions, which is awesome. Okay. Tart specific question. How difficult is it, and how much planning do you need to do when planning a story around the concept of time travel? It depends on if you think you are smart or you are me. I did not think I was smart enough. So I really sat down with Ludo and we really outlined what the big story was and how time travel would affect that story. And then having that outline has allowed us to add stories and take them away in ways that work based on Tart's going to be in the past, in the future, and then in the future, in the past. And then when we get to those stories, people think, oh, they were smart. Well, not really. We just took a little time and planned it out.
Well, I do remember you working on the outline. Maybe this was 3 years back or so. We were in the mastermind together, I think. Or was that 4 years ago?
Time means nothing to me anymore, so it could have been last Wednesday.
Or it could be tomorrow.
Could be tomorrow, yeah. We and at one point I looked at our 42 issue outline and said, I don't want to be writing Tart when I'm 85. So let's get out of these really fun stories that have nothing to do with her big journey. And you know what? We can go back to them later and we'll get to that. Oh, Joey just popped in. Joey Galvez from the Geek Collective, who allows us to play on Friday nights. We're doing great. Joey, how are you? So yeah, I took the big outline and kind of shaved it down to just cut away the fat of the story that are tasty, but was just more for me and not for the story. And for instance, the Soul Searcher stories that were 4 12-page stories in 2 issues were originally 4 24-page stories.
Oh, okay.
And I just kind of wrote those much shorter. Lost a couple things that I thought were going to be cool and clever, but didn't affect the full series in any way, shape, or form. There's a reason that Tart saves the girl in Bulgaria specifically. There is a mountain in Bulgaria that has a horseman and his rider literally carved into the mountain like 400, 500 feet in the air. No one has any idea how that carving is in the mountain. Somebody did it in the past. No one has any idea. So that story was eventually going to be Tart using dynamite to explode the horse and its rider and kill it into the mountain and create that structure that lives actually on Earth. Well, you can't get there in 12 pages. So that we had to lose that kind of cool little thing in Bulgaria, but we kept it in Bulgaria. The story is still there, but we lost that one thing. Joey says he's doing good, just building clients' Kickstarter pages. I think those clients might be on Explain Yourself in the future. So Will and I don't have to be big heads on the screen. You tell us when they're ready and we'll get them on, Joey. All right. So before my phone goes away, the next one. Okay. So what is your general take on the number/variety of self-published comics now compared to years ago when we were just starting?
Oh, wow. I think we're kind of in a golden age. I really do. It's amazing because I'm going to pick on that guy for a second.
Yeah, let's pick on that guy.
He's in San Diego.
Yeah, and we're not bitter about that at all.
We're not mad about that at all.
No, we're not pissed that he was on a Kickstarter crowdfunding panel with Jimmy Palmiotti and Kat Calamia. Well, we're pissed at Kat too, but
anyway, Charlie has these amazing campaigns with 1,100, 1,200 backers, over 1,000 backers. Kat, I think Kat and Phil hit 800. These are, from a Kickstarter standpoint, Kickstarter comics, those are massive campaigns, right? I'm hopefully on target to maybe hit 300 backers with this campaign. And to me, that is a massive campaign. But you don't need that many people.
No.
You can get a book made with 100 backers, maybe 75 backers. And it's still a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, but if that's the only number of people you need, then every book, I don't care what it is, has an audience. You can find an audience that big for a book. And there's, if I'm remembering correctly, the comics category on Kickstarter has something like an 86% success rate. Is that?
Wow. I know it's been growing. I know Tyler really tracks it, and I think Tyler has a lot to do with it. Tyler, Madeline, Boston Metaphysical Society writer, Madeline. I'm so sorry.
Holly Rosing.
Holly Rosing, who is at San Diego, so we're mad at her and bitter with her too. I mean, we're not. Russell Nolte, we're mad at him. He's at San Diego. I mean, we're not. They've really all kind of either written books or classes on Kickstarter. Greg Pak, I know, has done some things helping people. So there's a lot of people, Tyler being one of them, who have created a stronger comics category than there was when I started. When I started, there were some people that kind of launched some campaigns and succeeded and then disappeared. And you don't see that quite as often anymore. And I think that's really great. Joey actually popped a question in the comments. So I have a question. What is your opinion about too much copy versus too little? Some clients like more copy than graphics, and some vice versa. I believe that you cannot have too many good graphics on your Kickstarter page, and you can have too much copy. That's my opinion.
And I think Kevin's right. This is comics, and it's the image. It's about the interplay between words and images, but the image is paramount. And so having too much text is, if you have a wall of text, it's not, people aren't going to read it, but they see an image and they see it, immediately. One of the things that I often struggle with on some Kickstarters is they don't really explain in my mind. And this is one of the things that Brant Fowler is the one who's done all of the Kickstarter pages that I've done lately, that he's done for me, is making sure that you have each reward tier visually explained. This is what you get for it. And I feel like that's so important, but it's hard to find and non-existent on some pages, that I've seen of late.
Because that's a lot of work. The tier images are a lot of work, and they're so incredibly important. And Ludo did that for us on our first Kickstarter, and I didn't ask him to.
Oh,
he just happened to do it. And our first Kickstarter was a wonderful accident that succeeded. I kind of did a wall of text. And I asked Ludo to put some images in, and he threw a bunch of really cool images in. And when I saw the page, I went, oh, I'm going to erase almost everything I wrote. And I did that. And then he did the tier images with the prices. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And, lo and behold, it's become, I think, the thing to do. But we on accident succeeded against everything I was going to do on my page. So I most of our success is due to Ludo's illustrations anyway, but our Kickstarter success on issue 1, the trade paperback, is certainly Ludo. Joey says he loves doing the tier images. It's what he does for his clients. Yeah.
Nice.
Joey, if you are looking for somebody to do some social media and PR and create your campaign, just so everybody knows, Joey at the Geek Collective is kind of doing that for people. So he'll build your page, he'll build you social media and stuff like that. So reach out to Joey. If you do, tell him Explain Yourself sent you. We get 0% of it, and
we take all the credit.
Okay, but we take all the credit. We don't want people's money. We just want to pat ourselves on the back.
Exactly.
But no, if you've never done this and you're scared, his prices are very, very perfectly good for the work that he's doing. So reach out to Joey if you've never done it and you're afraid to do it but want to do it, and just what he tells you it's going to cost, put it in your Kickstarter
Budget.
funding goal if you need it, you know. So he's at thegeekcollective.net. So
well, and another thing, if you're new to Kickstarter, don't make your first Kickstarter, a 5-figure goal on a 250-page graphic novel. Start small, because you're going to make mistakes. My first campaign didn't fund. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't even know what I didn't know. And going through, the comics launch, the paid program, the comics launch class was it was an eye opener. I'm like, what?
Which
you need a mailing list? What?
Yeah, I'm going to break in. I think that Tyler's class is worth every penny and 10 times more. So if you if you want to learn about crowdfunding and you haven't done it, listen to the first probably 15 episodes of Comics Launch for free. It's going to give you a lot of baseline information, and then look at the Facebook page. And I believe you should invest in yourself and at least join for a couple months. I did, and I've never been upset about any of the money I invested in the Comics Lab course, because it did change the trajectory of our campaigns.
Yeah, it totally, for me, and it got me hooked into the community, which is not something, which was something that I really needed to do, because the Comics Launch community as part of the indie comics community is, it's so supportive. And once you're kind of plugged into that, then you're not just out there on your own anymore. And it does help. It helps a lot.
And we met there. So Explain Yourself is basically Tyler's grandchild.
Yeah. We should get we should give him some baby pictures, right?
Yeah. So Joey put he had a brand new creator to Kickstarter, and the page went from maybe being unsuccessful to having a better chance just by peer review. Right. Yeah. 5-10 people looking at it, and just kind of, hey, that's good, but that should be at the end, not at the beginning. There even little things like, just don't put it in that order can help, or just, you're doing it wrong. You're really doing it wrong, and you're cutting yourself off at the knees. And here's what I'm going to say, because it happened to me and it's awful. So please don't do this. I had somebody in the past ask me to look at their Kickstarter page, and it was a rough page. And I spent hours going through it and giving advice. And I got a very angry message back that I just wanted them to fail, and I should have told them that they were doing good, and good luck. Okay, if you just want someone to tell you good luck, don't ask them to look at your page. Ask them to come to your page the day you've launched. If all you're looking for is, something positive, an attaboy, wait till you've launched. If you're getting a peer review before, be ready for good constructive criticism. You don't have to take that criticism. You can say, no, you're wrong, and leave your page as it is, but don't do that. It wasn't the coolest thing ever. But we live and we learn. So we got another one from Laurent. Where do you see Crowdfunder and Zoop fitting in when Kickstarter and Instagram are pretty dominant platforms?
Oh, you mean Indiegogo?
Yeah. What did I say?
I think
Instagram.
Yeah,
I probably said Instagram. Yeah, it's IGG, Indiegogo.
Yeah, Indiegogo. We've talked about this, I think, a lot, and I think that the more strong crowdfunding sites that we have, the better for us indie creators. It's just it's a net win for everybody. That rising tide will lift up all the ships. I think getting to a multiple strong crowdfunding providers is going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of trust building. I mean, I personally I love to see Zoop succeed. I'd love to see Crowdfunder succeed. Backer Kit's doing it now too. And I'd love to, the stronger all of those are, the better it is, not just for me, but for everybody. The problem I see is that Kickstarter is the 800-pound gorilla. If I bring a project to Kickstarter, I know that a god-awful amount of eyeballs are going to see it. I know that eyeballs will see it on Crowdfunder and Backer Kit and Zoop, but I don't think it's anywhere near the eyeballs on Kickstarter. So it's an uphill battle for them, and I do want them to succeed, and I wish them a lot of luck. It's just I think it's going to take time. It's going to. Kickstarter didn't happen overnight either. It took a long time for them to build up the user base that they have. So I think it's going to take time, but I hope they get there. I just don't know how long it's going to take for them to get there.
It's going to take time, a whole lot of precious time. It's going to take patience and money to do it right. So let's have patience and let's put some money into them, and hopefully they will do all right. And hopefully I sing quick enough that George Harrison's estate doesn't sue me. If you do, I'd love to meet you and say how much I loved your dad. So last question for Laurent. Why is Sacrifice your favorite comic? Well, I'm going to answer that. It's actually funny. Comedy in comic books is difficult. The 4-panel comic is easy to be funny. The sequential art of 22 pages isn't easy. And the demon, your designs of the demons are as imaginative as any I've ever seen. On the Hellraiser Cenobite level of great. So that is why Sacrifice is my favorite comic. All right. So Blake's Buzz says, what makes a great campaign page? I recently found myself shocked that people don't have their cover art included. So I think that Joey's question kind of in this are the same. I think that you need to lead with your strength, and hopefully in a comic book, your strength is art. And it doesn't mean that your artist has to be Jim Lee style. The people who like your artist's way are going to find you. So you just kind of want to show people what they're going to get in the comic. Now, I don't think you should hire a cover artist like Jim Lee, So if you've got a $9,000 just burning a hole in your pocket and you hire Jim Lee and then you get your buddy at $15 a page to draw black and white, don't do that. Get yourself a black and white cover so people know what they're getting. I think a great page tells me who you are as a creator, what the book is, what the book is like, so that I know if your book is like Preacher, tell me your book is like Preacher, because I want to know, because I might like Preacher. I actually don't like Preacher, but a lot of people do. So if you make a book like Preacher, make sure people know it's like Preacher, and that will help you find your audience.
And I would say too, for your first campaign, have as much of whatever it is you're making done as possible. As you get further along, you've built up trust, you've delivered hopefully, and built up that trust. So you don't necessarily have to have as much of it done, before you do your launch. But yeah, I would say showing the art and giving people a sense of exactly what they're going to get, is really what you need to do. Just like Kevin said, just listen to Kevin. He knows what he's talking about.
And Blake's talked about, cover images. I do believe your cover should be on your page. I think that I want to see your some interior pages, and I want to see your cover. And if you have variant covers, I want to see all of your variant covers. If your artist is in the middle of it, you can put an in progress variant cover, especially if it's a stretch goal you're working towards. Because Tyler kind of made me aware that you could do this, the 3D images that makes it look like a real book, I am personally a proponent of. Some people, as Blake says, he wants to see the cover bigger, so he likes two-dimensional, I say put them both. Put your 3D one on and somewhere else have the bigger image. But I want to see your cover. I want to see sequential pages, and I want to see, hi, I am creator, writer, or artist. I love this book, and it's, this is why I'm passionate about it. That's what is a good page. A great page is about 9,000 things, but those three things are it: cover, interior. Creators are passionate about the book.
And Brant did something I think is just freaking awesome. He does a big animated GIF of all the covers for Crossover Division. So it cycles through them after a while. And I'm like, that's so cool, man. I wish I'd have thought of that. So I'm going to take credit for that, Brant. Okay. I'm taking that.
Dave Baxter, who is my chessman, my nemesis on the chessboard. We play chess on the nap, maybe 2 moves a day, but he makes my life hell on the chess app. He says he doesn't entirely understand the love of raw, or I call them virgin covers, the logoless covers. He says, get a print if you want the image pure and front and center like that, but a cover has a lot of design elements to it that are made to be a cover and not necessarily a flat print style image. So here is what I will say. A virgin cover is something that some collectors really enjoy and will pay a premium for. Mm-hmm. I do ask Ludo to draw his covers so that it looks great with a logo, but will look great as a virgin cover. This allows me to have a $10 regular issue and a $25 to $75 virgin metal hoopla cover. You do not have to do it if that's not your style. You don't have to do it. What Will does is he'll have about 4 really cool different variants from different artists as a way to build up interest. Do what you as a creator want to do, but give as many options for people to buy your book as possible. My Kickstarter page, I want to give somebody a chance to back it. $2, $5, $15, $25, $35, $75, $100, $200, $500, $700. So these variant covers, raw covers, metal covers, nudie covers. I have no issue with people doing nudie covers. I think that the book should be nudie if the cover's nudie. That's my own personal thing. Dren Production does, what is it, the Cannibal Cheerleaders from Outer Space or something like that.
Yeah.
So I backed that because James Machia, I knew from Comics Launch, and I've liked his books. So I noticed he had like the nudie covers, and I get the book, and there's like full on sex in the book, and I was like, good. If you're gonna have a TNA like nude, well, not TNA necessarily. If you're gonna have a nude cover, have some nudity in the book. That's what I say. If you're gonna have a TNA cover, you don't have to have sex in the book because TNA is a little different. But give people options. If you are doing a all ages book, do not do a nudie cover or a TNA cover. Don't do that. Again, my opinion.
Yeah, and for me, I love working with the artists. So that's one of the reasons that, from a creator standpoint, to do variant covers is to give our backers options. I
think David was listening. He just made a move on the chess game. Dude, Dave, I'm busy. Come on, man.
But yeah, I mean, Kevin's right. It's about giving, because not every backer backs for the same reason or for the same stuff. You're going to have digital backers, you're going to have physical backers. Some of those physical backers are going to be collectors. Some of those physical backers are going to be readers. So it's about us as creators trying to present as many options as we can, to backers to back us. I mean, that's really what it kind of comes down to.
And Chuck Pino actually wrote, I understand what you mean about certain covers, but here's the thing. I'm not a fan of variants in general. We don't do those covers for us. We do them for the fans and the collectors. They love them. We don't have to understand. We just have to give them what we know they'll love. Yeah.
Yep.
Options. Give
That's
people options to make them happy, because a reader or a fan, whatever you call them, who is happy is likely to come back. And
exactly.
Your first Kickstarter campaign, your 10th Kickstarter campaign, you're trying to deliver an experience that is so much fun that they're going to come back.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He's not certain. Virgin. Gotcha. Yeah. Virgin covers. Joey says, am I the only one that TIFFs don't work for? I cannot see TIFFs on my computer. I need to work in JPEG, but I don't know about on Kickstarter. I would try putting them as JPEGs, just transferring to JPEGs and put them on. But most of pages to printers are TIFFs, but I think on Kickstarter maybe JPEGs or
pings
PDFs.
Work really well too.
Pings.
PNG.
Pings can be any size, right? Yeah. Oh, Chuck was at Comic Palooza. Oh my God, yes. I missed going to Coral Sword with you and having a beer and playing. What was the game you taught me? It was I can't remember the name of it. Put the game you taught me in the comments, please. Yeah, Chuck and I almost drowned one night after an Astros game. It was absolutely a great weekend. Him, Douglas Brown, and I had a booth, and it was fabulous. But yeah, couldn't quite get to Houston this time.
Actually, Joey just he was talking about Kickstarter maybe degrading the quality of the image or whatever, because they do resize it, I think. But I figured out something by accident, because I wasn't actually trying to solve any problem, but I usually just do I'll do a screen snip of an image. Of the project image when I'm sharing somebody else's campaign, so I've got an image there. But Kickstarter recently changed the format of that. It's not a JPEG anymore. It's like some kind of web file, web image. But if you right click it, you can just download it. It won't have the play button on it. It'll just be the project image, and then you can convert it to
whatever you want.
Whatever you want, yeah. So it was a happy accident that I discovered that.
Well, sweet. Oh, Chuck, Cards Against Humanity. Yep, that's exactly what it was. We had a couple beers. We played Cards Against Humanity. Ming Chen came in. We talked about the Astros game, and it was a fabulous weekend. So
that is a fun game. There's a card in there, I think, called That Bitch Stacy. My wife's name is Stacy, so we had a lot of fun with that card.
So I wanted to say that my chess enemy Dave is coming to Kickstarter soon. He has a property which he hasn't announced yet, so we can't steal his thunder. But he's going to be bringing a property back into the universe, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So we will have Dave on, I hope. I don't know if he he obviously stays up late enough to play chess. Yeah. So Dave, if you're listening, you're going to have to come on, because if you can play me chess at 11:52, then you can come on, explain yourself. So, okay. Oh, Meta Sorcier. She says, a graphic designer friend of mine absolutely hates Virgin covers and refers to them as unfucked by graphic design. Well, I believe that kind of goes into your graphic designer friend is looking at their own pocketbook and not what sells. So I would offer Virgin and very non-Virgin covers as well. So. She also asked, also, as far as questions go, I'm curious if you guys' stories have any sort of like deep personal meaning, or is it more, hey, this would be a cool story? There's no wrong answer here. Yes, there is a wrong answer. And I'm going to give it. I don't think Tart is a specifically personal story to me. It's the story that I could tell within the framework of what Ludo was trying to do. So, I would never have come up with this story if I didn't have the skeletons that Ludo was already, the bones of the skeleton Ludo was already working with. I just kind of built from there. So it's a personal story that Ludo and I kind of built on top of each other. And there's things I'm super proud of and things that I think are great, but it's not personal to me, except that I've made it personal because I want it to be the best story we can tell.
Well, what about Morte or so other stuff that you've done?
Morte was coming home from New York Comic Con, as tired as a human can be, alone on a plane, reading a New Scientist magazine, and reading how the word mortician was made up.
Okay.
The words for, I think it was undertaker before mortician, and it got a bad take. And so they took mort, meaning death, and added tician, meaning like a pediatrician or whatever, to make them sound better. And I sat there and I went, that is so crazy. And then just something clicked in my mind and I went, oh, that could be a one shot. So I don't think that is particularly personal, except maybe I would hope that I would want to do something. I would hope that I wouldn't quit if I was in the situation that the lead character, who I call Morte, if I was in the situation that lead character was in, I would hope to do something meaningful with however many days, weeks, months, or years I had. And that's the only thing that could be personal about it, is just, I want my life to be meaningful. And that was the way that character found to be meaningful. But it was just being at that low ebb of just so exhausted, you can barely eat, and reading something. And that's where that one came from.
Cool.
So no, I'm not very deep. How about you? Is Crossover Division a deep personal story?
I don't know if it's deep and personal. Well, it's personal in that objective truth matters and is important, and we can't. I don't want us to lose sight of that. You can't just relativize everything away. It's just what you think, or what there is an objective truth out there, and whether you can see it or not, it matters. And that's, I honestly, if you read the first page of Crossover Division #1, I give it away right there at the very beginning. Hank has his little speech where he's all happy for a second, and that's where I completely give it away. That's really what it's about. It's about truth.
Cool. All right. I am trying to get down to another question. The great thing about the Discord is people just got into a nice discussion, which is awesome. And I'm really happy they did it. It's also harder to find questions. M. Sorcier, another question. After putting out so many issues of comics for so many years, do you guys still feel any sort of degree of imposter syndrome? And if so, how do you keep it in check? Yes. I think, I don't think creativity is a job, career, whatever we're doing, journey that you can do without sometimes questioning if you belong there. I have a great deal of, I know that I'm not that great. And also I have an amazing amount of hubris in that I know that I am no good, and also nobody's better than me. And it's a really weird thing between God, everybody else is so good. Do I belong? Also, what gives them the right to do this and not me? F that, I go through the imposter syndrome. And when it hits me, I think of the Neil Gaiman story of where he was invited to a meeting of incredibly smart scientists, and they were all
Oh,
talking.
the story
And
of the two Neils. Yes, I
the
love
story
that.
of the two Neils, and there were Neil Gaiman was sitting at the back, and this man was sitting there, and they were listening to a brilliant scientist talking about something. And the other Neil said, "God, can you believe that we were invited here? We don't belong." And Neil Gaiman looked at Neil Armstrong and said, "Neil, you walked on the moon." So if Neil Armstrong can feel like he shouldn't exist somewhere, and if my favorite writer, Neil Gaiman, can feel like that, then I go, okay, this is something all humans feel. I'm just gonna tell my stories and try to find some readers, and I'm not gonna worry about imposter syndrome. And when it hits me, I'm gonna go, F it. Nobody's better than me. A lot of people are better than me, but you kind of have to say that you're not better than me. Like, what was it, Tanner on the Bad News Bears?
Maybe.
The shortstop, the foul mouth shortstop. Be like Tanner. If you get imposter syndrome, be like Tanner. Tell in your mind. Don't say it out loud. But like, F you if you think you're better than me.
And I think a lot of us, and I'm not going to speak for all of us indie creators, but I think a lot of us kind of feel that, and maybe just me, but I think if you get interest from a publisher, that serves as some kind of external validation where somebody else thinks I'm okay, somebody higher up in the chain, it's that kind of external validation that maybe I'm not, or maybe it makes it worse. I don't know.
And more money, more problems.
More money, more problems. That's right.
So you get invited to a publisher, and your book gets published, and it is an amazing honor, and it is great. And then next month, another book is published.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, the part on the website that your cover was on, their cover's there. You're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's what a publisher has to do. They have to push the new thing. And you're constantly trying to get a place at the table, and then prove you deserve that place. And then if you got up and got to the bathroom and someone's sitting in your seat, you got to wait for somebody else to go to the bathroom. You got to sit back down. So the imposter syndrome does not go away when you're published. I can tell you that with great humility. That might be where it happens the most often. Joey Galvez, and this is the last question, unless anybody has something else to put. I'm writing a book. What advice do you have for a brand new creator? Write your book. That's my advice. Write your book.
Finish it.
I do know Stephen King says to then put it away for 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and reread it again as a reader, because you're going to be farther away from it at that point. So you're actually going to see where A didn't actually lead to B to C. A went to C and then back to B, and you're going to have to fix that. So finish your first draft. Know that your first draft is going to be rougher than the final. Don't beat yourself up if your first draft isn't Shakespeare, and get some people you trust to read it, and people who will give you the type of advice that you're looking for. Be ready to be told that something you love isn't good, and be told something that you think sucks is great. And then you figure that, go through that mystery of what do you change. But just, have fun with it too. Like you're making something that didn't exist before. So don't let it hurt you.
Yeah. I mean, it's, Kevin brings up a really good thing, King's advice about getting some distance from it, because ultimately we as creators are our own worst editors.
Yes.
We see what we intended to write or what we thought we wrote, not necessarily what's actually on the page. So I know that John Lees, who's an
Mm,
awesome writer, he has a
yes. Hotel, Sink. And Emily was gone, and then
mhm,
Emily was gone. Oh, fabulous writer.
yeah, and
He will never be on this show because he's in Scotland, so the
Scotland.
time doesn't work. And also, his accent is so deep. Nobody would know what he said the whole time. But fabulous guy.
But he has a writing group, so they all share and they all review each other's work, which is great. But finding a group of creators that you can have that kind of chemistry with is probably going to be pretty hard. If you can afford it, I would highly recommend an editor. I
Hmm.
mean, James Powell's the editor on Crossover Division, and he makes the books better. And I think by extension, I get better with every book that we do together. So
Yeah, because you have PTSD. You're like, oh God, I gotta
I got
explain
it. Yeah, he's got to gripe at this. I got to fix it before he gripes at it. Yeah.
that.
But there's some, we've, James is a great editor. Road Trip to Hell. She's an awesome editor as well. And
Oh,
I cannot.
Nicole Deandra.
Yes, Nicole
Yeah.
Deandra. Having an editor, especially like Nicole,
Mhm.
you see her name on a lot of really, really quality books, and I
My
don't think,
favorite comic, Sacrifice.
yeah, exactly, and I don't think that that's an accident. I think
Yeah, it's good.
that is very much attributable to her and her abilities as an editor.
No, I absolutely. You see her on a lot of really good books.
Mhm.
And I joke because Laurent did it, but no, Sacrifice is great. So he's a good writer. She's a good editor. And he's got a great artist. So between everybody, it's a good book, but a good editor helps you. But Chuck Pino, a
Mhm.
great editor. He's on some great books. Bilal, he just had Viscarian Tales that his wife wrote,
Yep.
and I
Mhm.
I know that he helped create like the world around it. I was so upset we couldn't get them on the show because it never worked out with timing. You should have been live this week, Chuck. We had room.
Yeah, lots of room.
No, please tell Wendy that we want her on the next campaign because I really felt bad that we couldn't get her or Travis Gibb on the last month. We just didn't have any spots, and I was very sad. Um, all right, that's the questions we had. Let's go through the campaigns that are still live, and let's call this an early night because you know what? I'm tired.
Yeah, that works for me, man. All
Relate,
right.
relatable young adult mystery comic. A very absurd, very funny, just silly concept where two writers, Fearless Fred and Ricky Lima, telephoned the plot where one would write a couple pages and hand it off, and the other would write a couple pages and hand it back. And they just kept trying to write the other person to a corner that they couldn't get out of. So they were basically just pranking each other with every page. And so the end result is an insane but really fun story. Reminiscent, not exactly of Axe Cop, but kind of the story can go anywhere that Axe Cop gave you, and it's cute. It's a little bit of a parody of Scooby Doo with a bunch of other absurd elements, and definitely worth your time and attention.
Oh, and before we go on,
Mm.
shout out to Kat Calamia, who we're
Oh
mad
yeah,
at but not mad at, and Phil Falco, who we're
who we're
not
not
mad
mad
at.
at.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
not mad at Phil Falco. I can say that, Phil. You're in the Not at San Diego club, and
Yep.
we love you.
But their
By visibility.
anthology,
Yep.
uh, by visibility, volume 2, yeah, buyer, or still buy, whatever.
Buyer than ever is what they said.
Yeah. That funded, I think it was either last night or earlier today. So congrats
Yeah.
to them.
Tarmux, one
Yep.
of the campaigns that Joey Galvez helped, that funded in the last couple days. Ryan Biz's Ruination funded this week.
Mhm.
And I think Territory funded
Yep.
either this week or last week. So we had a banner week for funded campaigns.
Yep, absolutely.
So Pocus Hocus, another
Yep.
Joey Galvez special. This is a Faustian comedy, and as the writer said, it's just as absurd as the name Pocus Hocus, and just a fun, cute story, and well worth checking out.
Unicorn Vampire Hunter. It's a unicorn that fights vampires with his horn. Duh. I love that description of it that I read on the page.
And it is a all ages fairy tale, so it is definitely. He said that his biggest readers are 8-year-old girls. So if you have, I always kind of like take 2 years off for a boy. So if you got like a 6-year-old boy or an 8-year-old girl, or niece or nephew, definitely grab this. It doesn't mean it's not worth reading yourself, but it's an all ages book. So we need to kind of seed those readers, and in the most selfish way possible, get them hooked on comics now, and they will buy Crossover Division and Tart later. So let's get all the all ages books out we can.
Absolutely.
I accidentally didn't put Pocus Hocus in the banner. So if you're watching this on YouTube, Pocus Hocus magical comic series, and I see 2 comments. Let's make sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, Pocus has 6 days left, Joey says. So you got about a week to get on Pocus Hocus. Oh, Steak.
Oh, yeah.
So Jessamy presents Stake, our buddy David Byrne, who was the co-publisher at Scout Comics, the guy who gave me some help and that imposter syndrome as Tart went away and other books came out. I'm looking at you, David. No, they I understand the business. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. But no, Jessamy is a lead character of his Stake comic, but she is a vampire, which means she was having adventures way back in colonial times. And this is one of the stories of her investigating some rumors on a slave plantation in the 1700s, 1600s?
I think so. I think, yeah, it's quite a while back.
And the art on it is beautiful.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, Crowdfunder. So this is not on Kickstarter. Crowdfunder head cases, Leslie Julian and AJ Mason are, this is 2 friends who find themselves a duffel bag that belongs to a hitman and has a head of his last job in it. And it is a comedy, and I have not read it, but I can only imagine that some zaniness ensues as they try to get rid of the head and or get away from the assassin. And this is on Crowdfunder, Crowdfunder without the E. So crowdfund and then the letter r.com/headcases, and give that a look. Let's fertilize the land over at Crowdfunder as we also keep fertilizing Kickstarter and Zoop as they come up.
And potentially backer kit as well.
At some point.
Yep.
So we said David used to be the co-publisher of Scout Comics. Well, guess what? The person who has taken over the reins, Richard Rivera, Stabbity Bunny, is coming back. It is Scout Comics' first ever Kickstarter. I believe Joey has a hand in this one as well. He's a busy beaver. Stabbity Bunny is a spirit that lives in a stuffed animal, and whether it is benevolent or malevolent is something you'll have to learn in the series. But the family that owns the bunny that the spirit is stuck in is being pursued by definitely a nasty entity. And this bunny is there to protect them. So nice. Scout Comics' first ever Kickstarter. I might have a vested interest in hoping this does well. So take what I say with all of the bias that comes with it, because I want it to do amazing. And Joey says I do. So Joey is doing the Stabbity Bunny. I thought so. All right, cool.
Looks like we've got Project Big Hype, I think.
I think it's still going, yeah. But I did think they just passed the funding this week. So 385 pages, I think. black and white manga influence, and it's really about getting new creators their launching pad, and it's really going to be you're going to get your money's worth on this book because 385 friggin' pages. Jeez.
No kid. Can you
The
imagine?
big hype is not bull.
Yeah.
And cheeky. Let's get a little cheeky as we get out of
That's
here.
right.
Actually, we have one more, but Pat Shand, who is in San Diego, so
Yeah.
not at all bitter and angry at Pat being out in San Diego with Charlie and Pet Cat and boo. As I take another drink thinking about it. No, I can't be too mad. I can't be too. I've been to San Diego, so I can't be too angry. I've been to it. So you can be angry. You haven't been, right?
Nope, never been.
So we're gonna have to work on that. Will.
Yeah. But Cheeky is a monster success.
Mm-hmm.
He is, I think it's over 70, well over 70,000 now.
Nice.
I do have to gripe at Pat some because he did not have a $69,000 stretch goal. I mean, come on, Pat, come on, man.
You know what? Everybody who does like something horror has a 666, either the dollar amount or the backer amount. So come on, you got to be thinking, Pat. Cheeky is an anthology of mature stories, and when I say mature, I mean like mature. But the thing about Pat is he and his wife kind of put these stories together. They're very careful to actually have a story with sex as opposed to sex surrounded by dialogue. And it's drawn with, I think, the thought to not just be male gaze, not safe for work. I think that there's probably something that males will enjoy to look at and females, but I think it's a very open and honest take on sexuality. And so, go for it, Pat. Keep it up.
Got some great covers too.
Mm-hmm.
Romina Morinelli, great artist, does one of the covers, and I think Jen St. Ange does one of the covers as well.
Yeah.
And there's another one, and I don't remember the artist. I think he got another
Banksy.
Yeah. Huh?
At $70,000, you can get Banksy cover, right?
Sure, why not?
All right, everybody. Email Pat Shand and ask how much his Banksy cover is.
Yeah.
He should have a $1.5 million tier for a Banksy one-off.
One-off, yeah. Maybe that's halfway shredded, in the printer.
Oh, that was so brilliant. That was so brilliant. I said there was one more.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's me. Yay. Yeah. We can talk about that guy too, but he hasn't been on yet so.
Well, yeah, let's bring that guy up. And I've got one other that I have not reached out to, but I'm going to reach out to. So let's talk crossover division, and then we'll talk that guy.
Well, we are we're about 5 backers away from equaling the total number of backers I had for the last campaign for number 3, and I still have a week left, so that's pretty darn amazing. It's got some great art by Alice Leclerc and Ryan Kroboth, and Brant Fowler's the letterer, James Powell's the editor, I'm the writer. We also have some pretty amazing variant covers that can be Virgin variants as well. But we have Pablo Martinena, who's our artist on the first 2 issues. He does a variant cover. We have Fellhound. Fell is just a delightful human. There's no other way to describe her. It's
just, so much talent first. So fun, so friendly, so clever. Like I mean, I don't know Fell. I haven't met her in real life, so I can't say like to know her is to love her because I don't know her. Man, what a just likable human being and just somebody to root for. And I've had her on a variant cover, and I thought you were smart to do so too, because just a great person to have anywhere near your property.
Yeah, she's awesome. And then Emily Pearson does another variant cover for us, which is beautiful. It's also the project image for this issue.
It's so simple and elegant. I'm going to actually go back to your page real quickly in case people are watching. I don't think I did it all the way.
And Emily was just wonderful to work with as well.
I'm going to go down to, I'm going to go away from the managing my pledge, which I accidentally hit earlier. So yeah, Project Event, that's Emily's cover. But I'm going to go to Brant's GIF where it goes through all of the covers.
I think it's up at the top.
That would make sense. Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's Fellhounds. There's Emily, right? Mog.
Yep, there's Emily. And then Mog Park, who is amazing as well.
And you have that as a tier, don't you?
Yeah. She agreed to let us add that as a tier. So if you love that cover, and if you are a human and have two eyes, you should love that cover.
The actual cover, yeah.
You can actually purchase the original art to that cover by Mog, which is amazing.
So intricate, just gorgeous. She's also just a wonderful person, but just like there's so much happening on that page.
So much detail. It's just beautiful. I mean, I love looking at Mog's work. I mean, she does Snowpaw.
Yeah, Snowpaw, which is coming soon. Snowpaw #2
with our buddy Rob, and yeah, it's always a treat to see her art. I mean, if you have not purchased Snowpaw #1, you need to make sure you catch up when the #2 drops real soon, because it is a beautiful book. It really, really is.
Yeah, I moved up to Emily's, and I'm not going to say simple because I'm not an artist, so I don't know what goes into this, but it's just so, the form is so, there's not a lot on the page, but everything on the page is gorgeous.
Well, and it does have some nice little Shakespeare puns on it too. You know, it is the East and Juliet is the sun. And there's a picture of a sun that says me. And again, as much as I would like to take credit for that, that's all Emily. She's awesome. So,
a rose by any other name, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. It is.
But what would Poison have to do with Romeo and Juliet? I've never seen the end of the play.
Oh, I'm not going to ruin it for you.
I don't get what the daggers and the poison mean. I really love that sweet little love story about the two people who fall in love, and everything's going to turn out right?
That's right, because they're teenagers.
Here's Fellhound's really cool. The way she used the daggers to create frames is really nice.
She's a lot of fun to just watch on Twitter too, because she's always talking about sword ladies and abs. So yeah. And then there's Pablo's. Now, the cool thing about both Pablo's cover and Alice's covers is they're the second half of the connecting covers that they each did for #3. So Alice's 3 and 4 cover fit together, and then Pablo's #3 cover and 4 cover fit together as well. So
that's cool.
Pretty darn awesome.
So we talked about that guy. We always we kind of mess with him, and because I'm going to say this: to know Charlie is to love him. Charlie Stickney is the most authentic, kind, smart, talented. You know, he's everything that you hear about him, and he's a lot more. And Galarian, White Ash presents Galarian is also just in the stratosphere. I don't know where they're at right now.
1,140 backers.
Oh my gosh.
That is a monster. And he still has like 3 weeks left, I think. So
yeah, he's only got $41,000 in funding. Oh, God bless you, Charlie. We are so happy for you. But guess what? We want you to get more. And if you haven't been into White Ash, if you like fantasy, you need to be reading White Ash and Galarian. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. You got to be reading it. There are some books out there that there are a few books out there that I think are as strong art writing synthesis as White Ash. But there is another one that's that strong, and I have not reached out to them yet. I'm going to try to reach out. I can't promise that they're going to be able to make it because I don't know anybody's schedules. But Skies of Fire Volume 2 is actually out there. They're also just destroying. I'm going to send Ray Chow an email and see if he can come on with Charlie next week. Skies of Fire, I work with Ludovic Soleil. I'm never jealous of anybody else's artists, but there are some books that I go, wow, look at that artist. Skies of Fire is one of those. Not that the writing isn't pretty amazing, but the art is just epic, just absolutely epic. Very much well worth looking at. So I can't promise Ray Chow. We can't promise Charlie will be on because that's 7 days from now. Who knows? But Charlie is scheduled to be on next week. Ray is not. We're going to reach out and see if he can make it. But even if he can't make it, I definitely say check out Skies of Fire. Ray and Vincenzo are just great creators, great writers, and their artist who is, I believe, Brazilian. And I'm not going to go to the page and try to pronounce it, but look at the blimps he draws, and I dare you not to back this book.
Nice.
And 12:22, hour and 22 minutes, just the two of us. So what do you say?
Forever, right?
What do you say? We stop recording and keep talking?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Everybody who joined in, we really appreciate it. I hope you could handle the fact that this week was not our usual Kickstarter roundtable, but it was fun to just kind of talk to Will too, because I like that guy. I like that guy.
And then that guy, yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.